I hope everyone is back after filling themselves with water. Welcome back, everyone, to the second session for the day. Swiftly moving ahead, I cordially invite the chairperson for the next session, Dr. Nilesh Deshmukh sir, as a chairperson for the session. He's an assistant professor at Department of Quality Assurance Techniques at Bharati Vidyapeeth University, Pune College of Pharmacy. He has more than 3 years of industrial experience and 1 year of academic experience. He has into his account three peer reviewed international journal publications, one book chapter, and three posters presented in national and international conferences. We welcome you, sir. Handing over the platform to you, sir.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So thank you, and it gives me immense pleasure to invite our today's guest speaker, Dr. Gandhali Deshpande. Madam has done its PhD in pharmacology, and currently she is working as a head medical affairs, medical communication, digital solutions, and medical educational support. The brief about Madam, that is, she is presently working with leading multinational organization CIMS Medica, providing drug information, clinical decision support tool, educational content, and marketing services to healthcare professionals, pharmaceutical companies, and patients. She has done PhD in pharmacology from SNDT Women's University, Mumbai, India in 2009, and she had done MTech in Bioprocess Technology from Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. She has awarded as the Best Research Paper Award at Apticon 2014 in Pune. She also awarded for the Best Employee for significant contribution in the ongoing Merck Oncology Program in September 2011. She has also have a patent on her name, that is the compounds for the treatment of cervical cancer associated with human papilloma virus. This is a patent publication number. Dr. Gandhali Deshpande has also worked as senior manager at CIMS Medica India as medical writer at Cyroclean. She was also as an assistant professor in Department of Pharmacology for PCP and academic researchers in Bharati Vidyapeeth, Pune, India. She has a total 11 published articles in various journals and presented a total of 10 poster presentations in international and national conferences. With this brief introduction, now I would request Dr. Gandhali Madam to kindly start your session. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you so much, Nilesh, for your kind introduction. Thanks all the panelists. I would certainly want to thank Dr. Mahadik sir, Dr. Pawar sir, then Manjusha for giving me an opportunity to have an interaction with you. And I really don't think that I am an expert who can advise you all at this juncture, because you are equally competent and doing great job in your field. But nevertheless, think that today we should really interact as far as we should give the justice to the topic, that is medication safety and the policies. And of course, want to highlight the typical scenario in India, because that is more important for us. And of course, the global scenario will always help us to improve as far as medical practices in India is concerned. So before I start and share my screen, I really want to thank everyone for for your this QIP program, because I used to be worked as an assistant professor in Pune College of Pharmacy. So I definitely know what could be the efforts and the total coordination, then the cooperation of the team or the efforts are required to conduct this activity. So really thank each and every one of you for conducting such sessions and giving us an opportunity to definitely interact with all our peer group members. So once again, thank you so much. And before I move, just give me 1 minute so that I will able to share my screen with all of you. So my screen is visible to you all. Nilesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So yes, so this medication safety principles and the practices, this is the today's topic of the discussion. Lately in this era of 2020 and 21, really this aspect is coming into the limelight because of so many accidents which occurred in our field. And basically these medication errors, they are very important, and the medical fraternity have started realizing the importance of the medical errors which are happening in different hospital settings, and especially in Indian scenario, this is becoming very important and trendy to discuss. So really, I must glad the team for selecting such topics. And because of these topics, definitely there will be a kind of a brain elicitation for us to think why there is a need for medical safety or why the medical errors are happening. So pragmatically, I just want to share few practical scenarios of our India, because we all know that there is a huge burden of a population in our country. Nevertheless, this population could have been a potential, potential strength of our country, but because of the so many bureaucratic principles and the, as you all are able to witness, that there are strong opposition lobbies for creating, and which will really they impede the growth activities in our country. And certainly this is leading to a huge burden on healthcare sector or healthcare authorities to manage the quality medical education, as well as to provide medical care to the patients. So considering a huge burden, and also another challenge in our India is doctor is to patient ratio. So for every 10,000 patients, we only have one doctor to cater the needs of our medical needs. So which is really, there is a huge gap as far as the ratio of a patient is to doctor is concerned. Nevertheless, in other countries such as developing countries, or rather developed countries like US and UK, wherein for every 100 patients there is one doctor. So just understand where is 100 and where is 10,000. So there is a huge gap. And because of this, there is too much of load. So what is the reason of these financial burden is there, of course, on our government policies. Secondly, because of the population and less number of doctors which are coming up, which is also creating lot of burden, and ultimately the poor man is suffering because we are not getting the quality medical practices in spite of paying. I have seen many cases in the metros also. In spite of paying so much, they are not able to save their family members. So there are different pragmatic issues on which basically the medical safety in India is getting compromised. But understanding the challenges, there are certain active doctors in India, or the active medical fraternity, they have started realizing this gap, and they are trying to improve and starting to think on this topic from a very grassroots level, because it's very important for us to understand the problems, issues, and then only we can provide solution. And moving ahead, we are foreseeing that the India is going to be a hub for medical tourism. So definitely, if we want to provide a quality medical practices to other countries, to the global, at the global context, we want to, cope up with their standards, then definitely our medical doctors are basically aiming high, and they are started thinking about the medication safety principles, and what are the practices, and what are the existing practices, what are the global practices, and they are just trying to cater to our Indian scenario. So it's very important for us, all of us, of course, to me also, to understand the key concepts and the facts, because now the medical fraternity is really booming high in our India. And of course, after this post-COVID and COVID era, all our healthcare professionals and the pharma sectors, basically they are into limelight, and I must thank all of them that they have really doing a great job. So because of this, action, so India is coming into a center or into the limelight as far as medical practices is concerned, or our pharmaceutical manufacturing or the production of quality drugs is concerned. So which is a very good thing, and I think now our time has started. You know, there was a once the teenagers say apna time aayega. So similarly is the case. I think that now our time has come. Yes, so I just don't want to deviate too much from our topic. But yes, key concepts and the facts are very important for us to understand the, you know, the milestones of the medication safety. Now, as far as Landmark Institute of Medicine is concerned, which is considered as a very authenticated source of the literature as far as medical updates or the medical definitions is concerned. So as per that report, we all know that to err is human. So we still, and we actually has, started blessing this concept that to err is human. And somewhere we should stop following this concept very religiously, and especially in Indian scenario, as I mentioned, that because of huge burden, financial burden, we have population burden, we have less availability of the experts in this area. So because of this, to err is human, so we have started blessing this concept, but the net effect of following this principle is really very dangerous. So impact of following this concept is, you can see here, the burden of medical errors is significantly increasing, and it's to certain point of time now, it has started, leading to the fatal deaths, mortalities, morbidities. So human life is becoming very cheap, even cheap than your making a call from a Jio or just buying an vada pav. We can definitely say it, because these figures say that in India, the national figures report that up to 5.2 million medical errors are happening annually. So which is a very significant error. And when the global people, if they see such data, which really reflects a very bad impression as far as the overall growth of healthcare sector or the medical sector in India is concerned. So definitely now the experts have started realizing the importance of these figures. See, these figures and statistics, it's very important to understand the implication of our practices which are happening in India, and to such an extent that incidence of adverse drug reactions. So now how the medical errors and adverse drug reactions are connected, if you will ask me this question, so yes, the literature says they are connected. Even doctors practical setting in the real life, in their real practice, they say yes, of course, medical errors and adverse drug reactions they are very well connected with each other, and definitely moving ahead we will see how they are connected. So as far as incidence of adverse drug reaction in India is concerned, it is 82 out of 1,000 patients, and these adverse drugs reactions are only because of the prescriptions. And the prescriptions are nothing but the humans are involved, because all doctors are ultimately responsible for writing the prescriptions. So this data is very scary for our future expansion or the improvement in this is concerned, in this field is concerned. So of course, people are taking the initiative, and they are really improving, and they are trying to set up the practices. Yes. So now coming to the medical errors. So medical errors, it's not a new phenomena. So they basically, when the medical errors came into limelight, as I told you, that it is because of the fatal morbidities, mortalities, when they came across in their practice at that moment of time. And if these figures, if they are not under the control, which really creates an alarm, and it started doubting the efficiency of the medical doctors. And from that era, it's like from 10 years back, the medical errors are into the limelight. And they are definitely causing harm and sometimes leading to devastating effects on patients. And believe me, the statistics says that most of the medical errors are preventable. So only because of the we believe in the fact that to err is human, we started following it so rich, so it has become a ritual for us that even for the preventable errors we are not having any control, and the consequence of this is ultimately leading to the devastating effects on the patients. Medical errors are defined as any mistake at any stage of medication or adverse drug events are also considered as the medical errors, and which is due to the result of any injury or a result of ultimate result of the medical errors. So many studies people have conducted. So before, as I told you, before providing a solution or to the policies, lot of studies have been done, or the clinical trial studies or the reports are basically published, wherein this is a landmark study was conducted in 1991 in New York. So research started long time back, and after the few decades of research, now people are trying to frame the policies in the developing nation like India. So what is the benefit of this research? Of course, this research or the statistics or the outcome of this research will definitely try to give an overview of in which particular instances the medical errors are happening in the real practices. So let us understand what was this study and what was the outcome of the study. So now, in 1991, the Harvard Medical Practice study was showed that significant of number of people, they have become victim of these medical errors. And study showed that almost 4% of the patients experienced an iatrogenic injury, which is the cause is unknown. 14% of those mistakes were fatal. So can you imagine that fatal mistakes which are leading to death, they are 14%, which is a highly significant percentage. And they have also found that the reported medical errors mostly included renal failure from angiographic dye and missed diagnosis of colon cancer. So this is a very significant, I just want to highlight here key medical errors. It's not only restricted to the prescriptions, as we all are aware of it. It could be related to the misdiagnosis, and even in our real life we must have experienced either with us or with our family members. Nowadays, so it is very rampant that misdiagnosis is a catchy word nowadays, and this misdiagnosis is leading to a catastrophic health effects on an individual. So that's why because of these medical errors, even you must have seen the yoga classes of the Mr. Ramdev Baba. So many times he says कि अरे एक बंदे ने ऑपरेशन किया था, वो ऑपरेशन में घड़ी मिल गई, ये मिल गया, वो मिल गया. So he is so because of all these things also, people like Baba Ramdev or the yoga practices and other practices, they are into the limelight because people are talking more about the prevention. Because nowadays it is like a fear going into the doctor's clinic ki baba, it sometimes is fear, because I have also interacted with so many people, and especially I will tell you where the medical errors are happening. So pragmatically it's your oncology. Second is your IVF, because IVF is becoming a business in India. It's a commercial business and people are earning in crores. And till today in India, we do not have the proper practices. I'm talking about the medical protocols as far as conducting an IVF is concerned. So it's still a gray area. So in that area also you will see frequent medical errors, and it leading to a catastrophic, effects to the individual. Many IVF studies have demonstrated that IVF protocols are leading to the ovarian cancer. So every in 1 in 50 females, if like for example 50 females are undergoing the IVF protocols, out of them, in 1 or 2, you will get the incidence of ovarian cancer. So such in India, there are certain practices, or there are gray areas which are pragmatically owning by only the misdiagnosis. Okay, so exactly this Harvard study is linked, and they have investigated this in 1991, that there was a misdiagnosis of the colon cancer. Now, another source of medical errors, it's nothing but your drug complications. Drug complication, once upon a time, was considered as a serendipity, and it really, it was a booming concept, not only in India, but also in global scenario. So these drug complications are the most common type of negligence, and accounting for 19% of the errors are because of these drug complications. And of course, these drug complications are preventable, because in a few days back we just used to follow the combinations which are prescribed in the global Caucasian populations, in American population, in European population. But after few studies, people have started realizing the role of genetics and the role of phenotypic characteristics in us, because Indians are different, they belongs to Caucasian population, Americans are different, Europeans are different. So these genetic studies or these phenotypic characteristics have come to the conclusion, and that's how the personal role, the personalized medicine has, came into the picture. Personalized medicine is like the medicine which will work for me will not work for you. So that is why the medicine or few drug combinations, if they will work in Indian scenario, or if they may lead to adverse events in Indian scenario, probably those combinations may be beneficial to other population type. So this is nothing but the phenotypic and genotypic differentiation. So there are certain medicines, in because of these genotypic phenotypic characteristics, they might lead to adverse drug reactions in certain class of population, and they may not be. But few days back, when the drug dose combination, or a FDC, when we refer to this concept as fixed drug dose combination, came into the picture, so we started following and giving. All the doctors used to give the same combinations the way it was listed to be safe in the global scenario. But those medications have really resulted into catastrophic effects or the fatal effects to our Indian patients. And that's how studies were reported. And then it was created a noise in our Indian context. And then the FDs, then our Indian drug controller or the DCGI, they have taken an initiative to, basis of the reports, they have banned certain combinations in India. And but by that time, we have contributed to a lot of medical errors, and it has really, it is till today, it is beyond the control, giving the combinations. Yeah. So we used to believe that 1 + 1 is 2, but now sometimes in certain patient population, this 1 + 1 is really 0, or going towards the negative benefits to the patients as well. So everything works as per the, patient's overall lifestyle, patient's characteristics. So people have started now more understanding the concept of individualized therapy or a personalized therapy. So it is like, the dress, for example, we go and buy certain dresses or any outfits. So it is obvious that it is not fitable to everyone. So same is a same situation basically will occur in our medical field as well, slowly and steadily, because of these reported adverse events, because of this reported lot of medical errors. And so it's really improving a lot in different aspects. And most important outcome of the studies or the medical errors which got reported is like the medical experts, they have observed that most of these errors are preventable. So that's why it's highlighted that these were preventable adverse events. So which is only due to the negligence. Now, what are the probable reported causes of the medical errors? So a lot of papers, Salotra is basically author who did a study. So he's an Indian author. So whatever today we are discussing is all related to the Indian scenario, because there's no point in discussing the global picture here. Because first we should understand what is happening in my region, my country, my place where I'm staying, and then I can understand what is happening in other countries, because there's a lot of dynamism is involved uh, in the medical practices which is happening in India and other states is concerned, because their the health is a part of their it's a part of their growth portfolio. However, the case in India, it's very different. So we have a lot of litigations and legal aspects as far as regularizing the medical practices in India is concerned. So let's understand first what is an Indian scenario. So causes of the medical errors. So there are different reports, and Salotra did a study in 2019, and what he found is the probable causes enlisted in his paper is communication barrier. Yes, in India, it's very difficult for a patient and for a doctor to communicate with each other, because the probable time which is we spent in the doctor's clinic is very less. This is because doctor is really loaded. In a day, he has to visit almost more than 1,000 patients. So just imagine given 1 minute to the each patient, it really it's a big toll for him. So practically, because of this time related factor, the doctor is not able to communicate with the patients properly. So that is one of the biggest reason. Second is use of abbreviation. Yes, for all the reasons you can see less availability of the time, because he is using abbreviations or the short form only. Primarily the reason is less time available for him. So at least on an average, the people have reported that in Indian scenario, each doctor is only effectively getting 5 to 10 minutes, and in that 5 to 10 minutes he has to diagnose, he has to understand the history, because understanding the history is also important for giving the proper diagnosis. And in India, most of the doctors, they don't believe in understanding or spending a time with the patient in understanding the history. So he has to diagnose, then after diagnosis he has to give the medication, then also he has to understand what could be the probable ongoing medicines, if the patient is having any side effects, if he's having some allergies, or he's prone to certain side effects. So to understand the patient's history and to understand the patient's profile, it will really take a minimum 20 to 25 minutes for the doctors. But because of this burden, he is not able to have an effective communication with the patient, and probably it's all leading to the errors. Then these abbreviations. So what is happening is, what is the impact of the abbreviations which doctors are prescribing? So that's what in the previous slide we saw, that prescription errors is every 1,000, in every 1,000 prescriptions, 82 prescriptions are leading to fatal or could be the adverse events to the patients, which is a huge number. So this is only because of the abbreviations. Because what happens, see, in the global scenario, if you will ask me how the medical practice work, so there, in the one setting only, like for example, clinics are available or OPDs are available. After that OPD, the prescription is written by the doctor or by the physician. It will go to the pharmacist, which is located in that particular center. So for example, in the global countries, in developed countries, so pharmacist will be located and it will be controlled under one physician only. And once the patient is taking the medication from that pharmacist, he will go home. So he is properly, in a closed loop. So closed loop, there is no communication gap, because everything is, first of all, is digitalized, and everything is basically is under one control of a physician. Here in Indian scenario, what is happening? I am going to XYZ physician. He's my family physician. After that, he will give me a prescription. I am going to the local, my favorite pharmacist shop. Mera chacha hai, mera mama hai. Okay, fine, no problem. And all chacha mamas are, they are into this business. So which is another area, which is a gray area leading to the prescriptions. Now, because of their inefficiency to understand the interpretation what doctor has written, and because could be also the lack of knowledge, medical knowledge, of course, any Tom and Dick Harry will not able to understand the abbreviations, and it is leading to, so who is at the toll? Pharmacist वो तो अपना पैसा ले रहा है, doctor is taking अपना पैसा only. Who is suffering? Ultimately, the patients are suffering because of the not understanding the abbreviations or the prescription medications, because of the illegible handwriting or passing any verbal instructions. Even if a doctors write any verbal instructions, like for example, wash your hands properly, after have your medicines before food, after food. So all these instructions, some patients may not understand because of the handwriting. So this is all, who is suffering because of all this? Ultimately, patients are suffering. Okay. So now we have understood the two communication barrier. Now causes are there, but what are the approaches? And people are following that. It is to have a closed loop communication concept. Closed loop communication concept is to have a proper, this concept is not followed in India till so far, but the developed countries are following the closed loop approach. Is nothing but in one setting, there will be an interaction. Once the doctor write the prescription, he will go and interact with the pharmacist that what you have prescribed. And they have to update in their digital system, and that will be approved by the doctor. And after the doctor's approval, the patient will get the medicines. So this is nothing but the closed loop communication system, which is in India, it's still not yet implemented. Now for the abbreviations, what is a solution is computerized physician order entry system, which is a very mandatory. And I'm glad to share here that in India, people are really working on this. Not only, so our Pharmacy Council of India is really becoming very active as far as computerized physician, and in fact, we also conducted one project with the Pharmacy Council of India, and we are sharing a drug database with them, and they're really working hard on this as far as Maharashtra Mumbai's Pharmacy Council is concerned. So in a way, we are moving in a good direction. Third cause is look like, sound like. That is, we call it as a LASA drugs. So there are certain drugs, they look like and they sound like same. But, and what is the impact of this LASA? Errors, patient suffering. Okay. So what is the solution? Barcode, administration is an efficient solution for this. So you just scan the barcode and the drug name will come automatically there. Then identification of high alert medication systems. So there are a lot of there is a special list of drugs where, leading to severe drug interactions. So if your drug falls into that category, then definitely there will be alarms will be created. Next is execution based errors. Yes, most of them are related to your execution based errors, and again the reason is nothing but your time. So now what all these causes suggest us? Yes, of course, it's an imperative to eliminate or reduce the incidence of medication errors which are happening in our day-to-day practice. Then now coming to the very practical problem or a practical concept. See, today we are just trying to understand what is a practical scenario, because no need to understand the theory, because now the world is moving into real-time dynamics, which is real-time always tells you that you have to be on the toe. You learn on the real-time platforms, you do your work at a real-time platform, and you also take a knowledge what is there in real world scenario. So that is why today we are discussing what is a real life challenges, what is a real world practices which are happening in India. So here, when we talk about real world scenario, of course, medical errors are related to adverse drug reactions. How? So adverse events that are not reactions to the medicines. Then second point is all your adverse drug reactions are not from your errors. Of course, they are not. Adverse drugs are there from your medical errors. There could be a possibility. Then medication errors, which causes the harmful effects, but they are not related to your adverse effects of the drug or side effects of the drug. They are only because of the human errors. Then medical errors that do not cause the adverse events. So all these five concepts are very important. But out of these five concepts, 3, 4, and 5 are only considered as a medical errors. So 3 is nothing but adverse drug reactions from the medication errors. So it could be because of the prescribing the unwanted combinations. It could be because of the prescribing high dose, which is not required. Because in certain cases, what happens, the doctor also get, the clinical decision is getting influenced from the this medical representatives, because they always come and interact with the doctors and they will tell ki high dose do, low dose do. So sometimes it becomes more medical representative oriented practice. So firstly, that should stop in India, and the medical practices should be only basis of the scientific research or the clinical research which, or the papers which are there. So in some companies, really multinationals and all, they really talk about science with the doctors, medical representatives, but in certain scenarios, it is all customer relationship management, CRM activities, and which leads to, which is also probably the reason of medical errors or a reason of fatal incidences. So yeah, so where we were at point number 3, that is adverse drug reactions from the medication errors. Then 4 point is also important, the errors that cause harm, but they are not adverse drug reactions. Of course, they are more related to your operations. So it is like not related to the drugs, but related to your operational efficiency. Whenever a patient is handling a doctor, how he is handling in the ICU, then how it is, the protocols are followed in ICU settings. So it is all related to operational efficiencies. Then 5th point, the medication errors that do not cause any adverse events, of course. So this is the principle where the slides will tell us that how adverse events are leading to medical errors. Now, these medical errors, how they are classified, it is very important to understand. See, classification here, yeah, we are not talking about a bookish classification, A, B, C, D. No, the classification is nothing but who is doing the errors. It's a human it's a human. It is because of the humans, or it is because of the paramedics, or it is because of the nursing staff, or it is because of the lack of knowledge, lack of education. So these are nothing but the areas which needs to be mapped very properly in an ideal scenario in India. Because if you miss this, the solutions which you want to provide will not be aligned with these challenges or with these classifications. Okay. So, of course, there are some bookish classifications or etiological classification, that error of omission, commission, discrepancies, which is, but this classification holds no value in real life practice. So no point in, wasting everybody's time here. The another classification which came into limelight and people started loving this is nothing but the American Society of Health System Pharmacists. Because they're in developed countries, the pharmacists are very active, and they try to publish, and they try to do research, and they try to publish, and they try to implement and improve their fraternity. So they enlisted the different sources of the errors. So first they found is ambiguous strength designation on labels or packaging related, then drug product nomenclature, equipment failure or malfunctioning, of course, which is very important, eligible handwriting, improper transcription, that also we have seen, inaccurate dosage calculation. So this is also very important, because certain cases, what happens in certain clinical trials, the trial may be conducted in only adults or in a particular age group. See, the trials, when they are conducted, we have a lot of rules and regulations in India in order to conduct the trial. Where is the gap? In spite of we having a strict regulations for conducting the trial, the interpretation of the trial, there is a gap in interpretation or transferring that knowledge of the trial to the doctors. Suppose if I am an investigator, I am conducting a clinical trial in a patient population who ranges from 24 to 44. So I cannot assume it that this drug, which is showing a beneficial effect in this particular age group of 24 to 44, it may not work for the 45 years human being, or it may not work for 23-year-old boy or an adult. So there we lack the interpretation of the data. So we have to be very specific whenever we do the translation. So this is nothing but a translation of science into the real practice or at the physician's bed. So this is where we lack the interpretation. So we assume कि अरे 24 to 44 में हो गया, I can give this drug to everybody and every Tom and Dick Harry. And because of this lack of interpretation, lack of knowledge, we succumb to lot of medical errors and lot of medical fatal incidences. Now, errors when actions are intended. So how much time is remaining for me? Because I usually go on and on. Nilesh, can you just update me on that?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, there is a more time. Means I think 15 minutes is there.
Okay, great, sure. So yeah, so the errors, it's very important that errors, how that's what I said, that categorization of errors is equally important as far as understanding the gaps is concerned. So there are mistakes, there are errors in planning. Of course, errors in planning is a huge gap, and this gap is see, if you will see the footfall, when I say footfall is how many patients enter in the clinic. If you will see that statistics on a day-to-day basis, and number of patients going to the hospital, so there's a huge gap. Most of the patients in Indian scenario, they don't go to the clinics, but they go to the hospital setting, which means the errors in planning action. So ultimately, the load on hospitals is increasing. And also we have another challenge in India. We don't have well-equipped hospitals, and we all have, came across to this situation in the COVID. Most of us, we must have heard from our colleagues or from our family friends that यार उधर जाना था मुझे, but मुझे bed ही नहीं available था. So there is a huge gap as far as availability of infrastructure is concerned, and it was well evident in the COVID scenario. Still, government has taken a lot of initiative to reduce the gap, and they have converted a lot of commercial hotels, many places into centers. I guess that's sort of yeah, kindly be on mute. Yeah, so which is really creating a lot of so the point here to highlight is, of course, we need to have a proper planning in our hospital settings, because most of the patients, they go there for critical situations. And there, why the patient go from clinic to hospital? Because their health demands and they need the proper care, of course. So it's very important to have a proper planning, and if the planning is missed there, of course it could lead to a lot of mistakes. Next, skill-based errors. Of course, this is very important, because most of the skillful doctors, they want to go to US, UK, so less number of skillful doctors are remaining in India, and we are facing, of course. Moving ahead, in mistakes, there are two categories: knowledge-based errors, rule-based errors. Yes, knowledge-based errors. Most of the errors are because of the lack of knowledge. Whenever they happen in a hospital setting or in the clinic settings, the statistics says that as compared to the ADRs, and as compared to your combinations, and as compared to any other type of errors due to lack of knowledge is very high in India. It is most of the time which could be driven by your MRs, as I said, or most of the time could be driven by your professors, what they taught you, or most of the time it is more influenced or factless. It is not on the basis of the scientific facts. Rule-based errors. So good rules, they are misapplied. Bad rules, they become good rules. Okay, so this is actually a practical problem. Another category is action-based errors. Of course, these are all technical errors, and memory-based errors. Sometimes people become like a Gajni and they do all these sorts of memory-based errors. Yeah, what they follow. हाँ, मेरे professor ने मुझे वो सिखाया था, so I should write it today, even if people will die, that's okay for me, because मेरे को ये सिखाया था. So people have that notion of following the same thing, and they don't want to understand the genotypic, phenotypic characteristics which are changing. Lot of dynamism is there, lifestyle is changing, people's eating habits are changing, people are more towards sedentary lifestyle. So all these factors are leading to a lot of different patient profile. See, it is our routine which makes us different. So everybody is having a different routine because of our XYZ reasons, and that is why there is a lot of dynamism. But some people, they really don't want to understand this dynamics. They don't believe in science, they don't believe in any facts, and they will keep on writing the way they are going to write. So which is all leading to different types of errors. Now, what is a psychological classification with examples in each category, which is also very important to understand. As we have spent enough of time on understanding this knowledge-based, rule-based, bad errors, good errors, of course. Now we will try to understand what are the examples which are associated with knowledge-based errors. It's like giving penicillin without having whether the patient is allergic or not. Okay. And also I can see the real example is with the augmentin. People are writing the augmentin. Now they are deleting, actually an augmentin is a drug of combination, but it has to be given only when single drug combination don't work. That is an ideal practice. But in India, we are, most of the patients are directly written with a double combination, and we are making the population oversensitive to the drugs, and that's how they don't work. The antibiotics, they don't work for certain patients, because for little things people start taking antibiotics. And even nowadays I could see that even for pediatric generation, people are giving antibiotics just like, jaise kaju badam kha rahe. So it is like, we are not understanding what kind of errors even we are doing. So, and we have started forgetting our ancient culture, that is a Nani culture. So Nani culture is all, people are not following it, and they feel if I thoda sa main antibiotics de do to thoda sa, I will be trendy, so that I can discuss with my friends or colleagues. But this is all nothing but the different types of errors, and this is only because of the we are following the trend but not trying to understand what is the knowledge. Yeah. So another is rule based example is injecting diclofenac, okay, rather than so a location. So we are referring to the injection site mistakenly. Applying a bad rule using excessive dose of captopril. Okay. Skill based errors is intending it to write a chlorpromazine, but instead of that, I just wrote a familiar word that is chlorpromamide. कभी कभी ऐसे होता है, it's happening with us also. अरे मेरे को एक बोलना था but मैंने ये बोल दिया. So but we go and apologize and we try to rectify. But what about doctors? वो तो आके तुमको बोलेगा भी नहीं, because by that time you must have gone and you must have had the medicines as well. So such type of practical errors may happen because of the lack of skill or the practice. Technical errors, putting wrong amount of acetylcysteine, and most of the, you will not believe me, the sonography mein jao, yeah, for oncology practices, they will do some CT scanning and something, and if the dye dose is not properly calculated, then it could really lead to havoc for the patient. Okay, so memory based. A classic example which I want to share here in this forum is, which is not good, but I just want to just give a message as far as the errors can go to what extent and in which countries. So we always see, so my elder brother is in UK. So yesterday, meaning 1 month back, his wife got diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and she is under chemo. So with the 4th chemo session, the nursing staff, they just forget to give her the anti-vomiting drugs, and which really created a lot of problems to her just 2 days back. And 2 days literally she was she was just vomiting, and finally she was hospitalized because of the weakness. So this is a classic example of the errors which might happen, because in the UK we all know that because of the surge of the COVID, their health fraternity is under huge burden. So really we should thank to our doctors, because in India they have, the burden is become routine for them, but still our practices are under control. So this incident has really, has opened my mind, and it elicited me to think like, how our doctors are managing. So this is a real example which I thought I could share here. So such kind of mistakes could, and this is a very gross mistake. You know, we cannot. This is not a minor mistake. That before chemo, if anti-emetics, if the emetics are not given, then it could lead to severe. That patients could severe will really, and it also creates a mental block for your next chemo. You know, there is a lot of psychological impact as far as the patient is concerned. So, but it happens not only in India, but in other countries also. Now, yeah. So another important point here is to understand what are the medication safety challenges of India. So the safety challenges is pharmacovigilance, ADR reporting, medication errors, then self-medication practices. Yes, self-medication practices. And I feel most of the pharmacists, they must be going for the self-medication practices for not only for themselves, but also for their family members. Sometimes I also do that. But nobody has reported that was a drug reaction. So God knows. Okay. So moving on, medication safety strategies. Yes. Now understanding the problem, now we should understand what are the strategies are in place in our country as far as managing the problems. So yes, safety is very important and it's a responsibility. Of course, it's a global responsibility. WHO Medicine Safety Group within the safety vigilance, they are they are working hard in closely with India, and now you know that India and US, they are very close, and they are really a lot of projects are there in pipeline, and people are working for, because we developing countries, we cannot work until we get a support from other well established countries, because if we need revolution in India, then we need to understand the established protocols which are there in other countries, because without that established protocols, we cannot execute those protocols in our country. So safety policies are of course there, developing, then facilitating and implementing monitoring practices are there, which are very important nowadays. We can also see that most of us have experienced that, and many guys I'm sure here are working for pharmacovigilance, and Bharati Vidyapit or Pune College of Pharmacy is really working in a, they are really working hard on this area, and especially Pawar sir's YouTube lectures have really created a lot of awareness among the fraternity, and I'm really thankful. Whenever I see his video, I really feel proud of him. The next we have policies for conveying, communication, promoting and supporting. So yes, people are working in a good direction. Then for knowledge-based errors, people are also trying to understand what could be, offered to our doctors. A lot of CME activities are in place. Then patient education, people are now investing in India as far as patient education is concerned. Setting up the small awareness camps is concerned. Then people like Baba Ramdev and all, then even your Sadhguru, they are taking good initiative to teach us what to eat, what not to eat, how to become more preventable. So of course, becoming preventable is also one of the guideline or an approach to prevent, to give burden to our healthcare community. So that is also one of the good approach which nowadays people are following. So yes, so improve the teaching, and yes, of course, this is very important that now we have understood what is errors. So it's like a human errors. So errors are contributing by the humans. So now how to give the solution? The solution for this is provide the computer-based or artificial intelligence supporting systems. Okay, so as you all must be aware that now there are robotic systems which are available, especially for very critical surgeries where the humans are not involved. So it's all computerized, or AI tools are implemented basically for the surgeries, for especially for the new surgeries, bone surgeries, even for certain soft tissue surgeries is concerned. In most of the settings, they are becoming AI monitored. But of course, it will take a lot of time to reach for to the common man. Okay, but yes, things are moving, and slowly things will become very affordable, so that the common man could enjoy the this. But again, in AI based surgeries, there are people have discovered with certain errors, and so errors are going to be there in part of it. Errors are going to be part of our life, I feel. So, but yes, the percentage might reduce. Then improve teaching. Then how to overcome your misapplying good rule. So people are applying your bad rule. So how to overcome that? You improve or invest on teaching. You know, computerized decision support system. Yes, of course, computerized decision supports as nothing but creating an alarm. If a doctor is doing some errors or if he's writing some wrong medications, create an alarm, which is of course a part of pharmacovigilance. Okay. So now here in the last column here, you can see that, for example, the doctor has decided to treat a patient, okay, instituting it cardiac messages in a patient who has fainted. So this is a basically how the doctor will understand that a patient who has fainted, so in what ways the alarms could alert the doctor. So you set an alarm for the chest trauma. Okay, so there has to be, so these tools are not readily available. These tools are basically, doctors are only making these tools by understanding the basics of your medication safety and the principles. Then writing prescription, for example, prescribing oral treatment in a patient with dysphagia. So patient is having a dysphagia and we're writing a oral treatment. You go for aspiration or a failure to treat. Okay. So there are certain measures which are at a micro level, if you will understand. This is more relevant for the physician's perspective, is to how to overcome each and every errors. Okay. So at least now literature is available that in each and every error, what are the error classification and how to map the error. Then systematic examination of improvement and the improvement of the rules. Similarly, suppose for example, prescribing an amoxicillin for sore throat, there is a rashes in gland, the fever, whatever. So create an alarm. So rule-based errors. Okay. So whenever there is a throat infection, people will write, okay, give amoxicillin. So these are rule-based errors. You know, diabetes is there, just give glibenclamide because it is a rule. So now people are started orienting their medical teams by giving them a real examples. Like for example, if a diabetic patient visit to me and if he is intolerable to glibenclamide, I should not let glibenclamide to the patient. So these rule based errors will definitely be reduced. Action based errors. So action based errors are increased check systems to detect slips, increased triangulation when drug patient conditions are specified, and increase the use of unique barcodes, which is a classic way to handle. Then again, technical errors, of course, the instruments can be improvised, and whatever the diagnostic instruments are there, even a lot of diagnostic companies are investing by discovering the generation based different equipments and the techniques. Okay. Then memory based errors will definitely be overcome by giving knowledge. And now because of this YouTube and social media, I was also surprised to understand that a lot of people actually they are discussing the research papers on Twitter, and I am also trying to join that group. So like for example, Lancet group. So they are on day-to-day basis. The doctors are discussing about the. They're trying to interpret the research articles and they're trying to give their own opinion. So that's how basically the real practice tips will come out from that forum. So such discussion forums are really helping us to give a real updates with the doctors. And now geography is no more there for geography is no barrier for anyone to connect with anybody. So with that note, I really want to thank all of you for your patient listening, and really looking forward for such kind of sessions. And if you have any doubts, I think I should keep the forum open for the discussions or any comments.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for a nice session.
Presentation, I can definitely share. No worries. There's no secrecy here. Knowledge has to be shared.
Participants, if you have any kind of question, you can ask. You can post in the chat box or you can directly ask.
I can see few chats here. The attendance link. This is not for me. Okay. I think 28 participants are there.
Any question?
Oh, hi Narendra. How are you?
Hello, ma'am. I'm fine.
Good to see you.
You were there for a third year in.
Yeah. I can never forget your batch. Good.
How's yours going, ma'am?
Great, Narendra.
Ma'am, it was great to listen your lecture.
Yeah. Thank you so much, dear.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any question? I think there is no question from the delegates. So they have listened quietly all the contents, whatever you are delivered there.
They must have not understood only two possibilities.
Yeah. So thank you, madam. Just I'll conclude and
Yes.
summarize the presentation. So thank you, madam, where you have given a session on the medical safety principles and practices. Madam, you have covered the key concepts and facts like a burden of medical errors, uh, introduction of medical errors, the landmark study conducted in New York. So the whatever the drug complications due to negligence are there. So you explained very well. And so whatever the causes of medical errors, that is the causes and the whatever the approaches like a closed loop communication system, computerized physician order entry systems like that. There are the different approaches can be used. So you explain that very well. Also the practical concept you said, that is how medical errors are related to the ADEs. Also the different classifications like etiological classification, American Society lists errors where actions are intended but not performed, and the psychological classifications. Also medical safety challenges of the India and the WHO safety policies here explained very well. So I hope every participants have enjoyed your lectures and understood all the concepts whatever are there in a medical safety, and they, I think they will implement in their personal, also in their educational, means they will teach their student how the medical safety and whatever the possible errors are there, and how to tackle that errors and have a good medical safety there. So
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Nilesh. And here also, I want to, highlight that for certain pharmacology projects, we can actually, to our students, can consider this area. I think some professors have already doing it. It's not a big deal. But I just want to share that if they can really frame a proper protocol with them, and they can conduct such surveys, and it will really create a topic of a thesis. And definitely if any further help is required, I am also very free to help anyone for proposing a research project. Yeah, so we help our all researchers who are already working hard in this field, and we can, all these surveys can really help them.
yes. So thank you, madam. On behalf of Bharati Vidyapeeth, I say thank to you for delivering such a nice lecture.
Thank you so much, Nilesh.
Thank you, madam.
So shall
Thank
I?
you so much, madam. That was quite insightful and a very valuable session for all of us. We'll now have a lunch break, and everyone is requested to join by 1:50. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.